dignitaries, faculty and student managers present on this auspicious day of annual national seminar. My name is Hasmeet Kaur, student manager of Balaji Institute of Management and Human Resource Development. I am very obliged to have this opportunity to introduce you all to Mr. Vasu Ramanujam, Senior Director Operations at Entercoms Solution Private Limited. Mr. Ramanujam holds a bachelor's and master's degree in technology from National Institute of Engineering in Mumbai, India. Sir has over 26 years of managerial experience in manufacturing, software development, and implementation in business development in India. He has a unique combination of technical leadership and entrepreneurial skills necessary to build, grow, and sustain successful teams. Mr. Vasu is a writer, Rotarian, a quiz master, a nature lover, a student of human behavior, and above all, a professional with multi-dimensional experience of nearly 3 decades. Mr. Ramanujam has an experience in Entercoms as Senior Director Operations, Director of Business Development, Director Operations, and in CCOM Solutions India Limited as GM Operations, COO in CC Tech School, Senior Implementation Specialist in Marketing, Manager in Alpha Level India Limited for about 12 years. Mr. Vasu is highly skilled in vendor management, supply chain management, forecasting, operations management, business development, and many more. Sir also knows about business strategy, project management, analytics, pre-sales, consulting, etc. Apart from all this, Sir supports the Rotary International, Ronald McDonald House Charities of San Diego, and Manavya organization. Sir, I welcome you here to grace us with your words.
Now? Okay, thanks for that introduction. This is not how I would like to be introduced, to be very honest. This is probably taken from LinkedIn or somewhere. I don't know where you got it from, but this is not how I like to be introduced. I'm a writer, a quiz master, and about to publish my first book of short stories. I would rather be introduced that way, to be very honest with you. So nowadays, if people ask me for how I want to be introduced, that is what I give. Here, I believe some research was done, and unfortunately, the internet doesn't capture everything. Anyways, happy to be here, and I would like to thank the Institute and the students for being so kind to me. I'm feeling more than welcome here, and I'm so happy to see so many people sitting in the audience. And I hope, do I have 1 hour? Do I have 1 hour? Okay, because we're starting about 2 hours late, which is why I'm asking, is it okay with you guys? Yes, sir. Okay. I'll try and not take 1 hour, I'll take less than that. But I want to show you 2 videos. Okay, one of them is about 18 minutes, the other one is 14.5 minutes. So does that mean you want to see it or you don't want to see it? Okay, fair enough. And we're going to talk about, we're going to introspect on these videos. That's what we should be doing. And I'm not sure if both of them will work because they're in different formats, and I'm a little skeptical about the system that is here, whether it will work or not, but we will try, okay? So can we start the first one?
Yes, sir.
Oh, this works. Okay.
Both of them works.
Both are working? Oh, great. Both are working. The second one.
Yes, sir.
No copies to be made. Please watch it. It's a 14.5-minute film, short film, which was one of the Indian entries in the Cannes Film Festival this year. Not this. The other one.
This one.
volume.
Audio. Audio.
Right again. Computer not playing. We need to use the mic.
प्रतीक, तुझे पता भी है कि मैं तुझे क्या करूंगा? गधे, हमेशा से निकम्मा ही रहा है तू। तेरे माँ के लाड़ प्यार ने बिगाड़ के रखा है तुझे। अरे पढ़ाई खत्म करेगा तू ही अपने पैरों पे खड़ा हो सकेगा ना? तू रहने दे बेटा, तू रहने दे, बस तेरा कुछ नहीं होने वाला, कुछ तेरे से डिसाइड नहीं होगा।
पापा, दुनिया में सिर्फ इंजीनियर ही नहीं होते।
अबे तो डॉक्टर बन जा, पर तेरी शक्ल देख के कोई तुझ पे अपनी जिंदगी बचाने का भरोसा नहीं रखेगा।
अच्छा पापा, आप ही की तरह दिखता हूँ मैं, और आप कौन सा बहुत बड़े इंजीनियर हो? हेलो पापा।
तू मेरी तरह न बने, इसीलिए मैंने तुझे मुंबई भेजा।
बट पापा, इंजीनियरिंग ही क्यों?
इंजीनियरिंग बस।
हेलो। हाँ ना बेबी, आ रही हूँ। एक मिनट कितना हो भैया? ये लीजिए, थैंक यू।
भाई साहब,
हाँ
कहीं जा रहे हो या मैं चलूं?
खार।
दुनिया रे दुनिया, वेरी गुड, दुनिया वाले वेरी बैड, ऊपर वाला वेरी गुड, नीचे वाले वेरी बैड, गोरे गोरे मुखड़े।
भैया,
हाँ,
ये बैग आपका है?
बैग? कौन सा बैग? हाँ, ये मेरा हो सकता है।
मतलब?
ओ जी, फाइंडर, चीटर, लूजर, पीटर।
आई थिंक ये उस लड़की का बैग है।
पर अब मेरा हो गया ना। हाँ, गोरे गोरे मुखड़े।
भैया,
हाँ,
इसमें महंगी चीजें हमें लौटाना चाहिए।
अरे साहब, कहाँ लौटाओगे? वो तो चली गई अपने बेबी के साथ। अब क्या साहब, ये आप रख लो या मुझे दे दो।
तुम क्या करोगे इसका?
अरे सर, बेच दूंगा, थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा कमाऊंगा तो मिसेस भी खुश होएगी, खाना एक दो बार तो कम जलाएगी।
रहने दो, बस मुझे ये बता दो वो कहाँ से बैठी थी।
अरे साहब, कांटे रोड पे बैठी थी।
मैं खुद उसे ढूंढ लूंगा।
दुनिया रे दुनिया, वेरी गुड।
क्या मंच है? पानी मिलेगा?
नहीं।
बॉस। हाँ, थैंक यू। थैंक्स यार, चोर साला। कैमरा
Camera? It was my camera. I'd never let him go.
सॉरी यार, मेरी वजह से।
Aman,
प्रतीक।
looks like a nice camera, Pradeep. Take care of it.
अमन, तुम्हारे पास भी ऐसा ही कैमरा है क्या?
Well, yeah, I'm a photographer.
क्या तुम इसे चेक करके बता सकते हो ये ठीक है या नहीं?
मैं यहाँ पे कुछ खाने जा रहा था, उधर ही जाके चेक करते।
ओके
चलो। तो आज मैंने फाइनली उसे ढूंढ लिया।
हाँ,
तो अभी वापस कर देगा?
वैसे भी ये मेरा कभी था ही नहीं।
अमेजिंग पिक्चर्स मैन। यू आर राइट, इंजीनियरिंग इज डेफिनेटली नॉट पे।
तो फिर मैं करूँगा क्या?
फोटोग्राफी। So Pratik, do you believe in destiny?
नहीं, क्यों?
ले, आ गई तेरी डेस्टिनी। सोचना यार प्रतीक, पूरे मुंबई शहर में हम चारों एक ही जगह थे, बर्थडे गर्ल, उसका कैमरा, तुम और मैं। दिस इज डेस्टिनी।
बट इससे तुम्हारा क्या लेना देना?
देख, मैं अपने एक दोस्त के साथ एक ट्रैवल मैगजीन शुरू करने वाला हूँ, एंड आई थिंक वी फाउंड अ फीचर फोटोग्राफर। आई थिंक यू आर परफेक्ट फॉर दिस।
सीरियसली?
सीरियसली, विल ट्रैवल द होल वर्ल्ड, और कैमरा मैं तुझे दूंगा।
अमन, मुझे फोटोग्राफी के बारे में कुछ भी नहीं पता यार। मैं तो बस ऐसे ही।
Assist me for a bit and then you do your own thing. Yeah. Think about it. Take your time and give me a call. Congrats. Birthday girl ने तेरी life बदल दी. So give me a call, okay? And beers on you tonight. Cheers. And wish her for me as well.
बॉस, पापा, मैंने डिसाइड कर लिया मुझे क्या करना है।
Okay, can you hear me now? Yes, sir. I'm so sorry. There were about 2,000 films from India overall in Cannes this year. 24 were from India, and this was one of them. And so the reason I'm showing you this film is, there are multiple reasons. One is the protagonist, Pratik, in the film, starts off not knowing what to do, what he wants to do in life, and he finds what he wants to do, right? That's why Lost and Found. He was lost, and now he's found what he wants to do. My son, so the earlier speaker told you you should think big, dream big. Now, sometimes you don't know what you want to do. Sometimes you may not have dreamt yet, but once you know what you want to do, then you have to go for it with whatever resources you have at your disposal, right? Now, my son wants to be a Hollywood filmmaker, and so he just decided to do what he wants to do, and you see the result, right? So, I mean, I think you should just go for it. Don't get constrained by your education. Let not education constrain you. Just because you've done management does not mean you have to be a manager. I'm sorry to the college folks for saying this in the college, but please do not restrict your horizons to anything. Think big. So the way I would like you to look at your college life is, you have made a lot of friends. You have this many friends, and I'm sure there are more, right? You have so many friends that you have made. Make them friends for life. The earlier speakers spoke about networking, right? Now this is your network to start with. Tomorrow, I'm sure at least maybe 20-25% of these people will be in big positions. Just imagine the network that you have created already, right? So start networking today. Don't wait for you to get to a job and then do networking. I'm sure you guys are already doing it, but do not ever lose touch with these people. There's a very interesting song from some Hindi film which talks about college ke din. I'm sure there are many, and you guys probably know much more than I do. But that is true. You should maintain these relationships, and these are the relationships. Today, I can walk into the office of the CEOs of a few companies only because those guys were my classmates. Okay? No questions asked. He doesn't feel that I'm trying to buy something from him or to sell something to him. It's just a meeting among friends. So please keep in touch with this network. That was the message. And also to reinforce the message of the earlier speaker, that you should dream big and do not let anything constrain you. Don't think just because you're an engineer and now a manager, then you have to join a company. Maybe you can start something completely in a totally different domain. I know people who have worked for big companies in Pune, decided to stop it and start libraries. And they're doing very well. They're doing what they love, and they're doing very well. Okay? So there's nothing wrong in it. For the budding entrepreneur here, go for it. I think you should just go for it. Yeah? Okay. Now I'm going to show you one more video.
So I'd just like to give you
Sorry? Okay. Before you start that, how many of you have been to TED.com, TED.com? Okay, I'm very happy to see many hands go up. This is a video which you can find on TED.com. This is a video about happiness. What is happiness and how can you get happy? Or how can you be happy? So please look at this, and then I'll come back for a short 5-minute discussion, and then I'm done.
So I'd just like to give you a warm welcome. It's a pleasure having you here, Shigamon.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here. And after that ovation, I better deliver something of value, right? I have a vision for each one of you. And the vision I have for you is that when you wake up in the morning, your blood is singing at the thought of being who you are and doing what you do. That as you go through the day, you can literally sink to your knees in gratitude at the tremendous good fortune that's been bestowed on you. That as you go through the day, you become radiantly alive several times. And if your life isn't like that, I'd like to humbly suggest that you're wasting your life. And life is too short to be wasted. So what I propose to do in the next 17 minutes, I've used up 1 minute already, is to give you a set of powerful tools which can get you started on being there. Is that of interest to you? Yes. Okay. This is a conference on happiness, But even if it wasn't a conference on happiness, would it be right if I said that in some way, shape, fashion, or form, you're devoting your entire life to being happy? Everything that you do, your job, family, children, relationships, whatever, is a quest for happiness, correct? I'd like you to think about the following. What do you have to get in order to be happy? We're just going to spend a minute on this. What do you have to get in order to be happy? Anybody quick? When I conduct this experiment, a bunch of stuff comes up. Oh, vast wealth, trophy spouse, good health, lots of travel, time, etc., etc., etc. Right now, if you were to think about it, you probably have a list of, here's what I need to get in order to be happy. I would like you to consider this. Anything that you can get. Let me repeat that. Anything that you can get, you can unget. Is that correct? So if vast wealth can make you happy, vast wealth can disappear tomorrow. Correct? A number of people in the financial sector have discovered this already. So whatever you get can that can make you happy can go away. Where does that leave you? Not a very nice place, right? I have a different proposition to suggest to you. And what I have to suggest to you is that there is nothing that you have to get, do, or be in order to be happy. Let me repeat that. There is nothing that you have to get, do, or be in order to be happy. In fact, happiness is your innate nature. It is hardwired into you. It is part of your DNA. You cannot not be happy. Now, all of you are very polite, and in some of the other forums I speak in, such as top business schools, they're not so polite, and invariably somebody articulates what many of you are thinking, which is, if happiness is my innate nature, how come I am not experiencing it? How come I am experiencing my life sucks? And the answer to that is actually very simple. You have spent your entire life learning to be unhappy. Let me repeat that. You have spent your entire life learning to be unhappy. And the way we learn to be unhappy is by buying into a particular mental model. A mental model is a notion that we have that this is the way the world works, and all of us have mental models. We've got dozens of mental models. We've got mental models on how to find a job, how to get ahead at work, how to pick a restaurant to eat at, how to have a movie to go to, dozens of them. The problem isn't that we have mental models. The problem is that we don't know that we have mental models. We think this is the way the world works. And the more we invest in a mental model, the more it appears that this, in fact, is the way the world works. But it isn't. It's just a mental model. And the mental model we have that we buy into so strongly is that we have to get something so we can do something so we can be something. Like we have to get a great deal of money so we can travel to exotic places so we can be happy. We have to be in a relationship so we can have great sex so we can be happy. All of this is a variation of the if-then model. And the if-then model is, if this happens, then we will be happy. If I were to get a better job, if I were to get more money, if my boss would have a heart attack, if only I could get married, if only I was married, if only my wife would leave me, if only I had children, if my children would grow up and go to college. It doesn't matter what it is. The whole notion is, if this happens, then I will be happy. And right now, the only thing that's different between the persons in this audience is what is the particular if that you are focusing on. And the only thing that's different between you now and where you were 10 years ago is what is the particular if that you are focusing on. Think about your life 10 years ago. Spend a minute doing that. And 10 years ago, if you remember clearly, there were certain things you wanted. Is that correct? Odds are pretty good that many of those things you wanted 10 years ago, you now have. Is that correct? Where has that left you? In exactly the same place, right? What we don't realize is the model itself is flawed. The if-then model, if this happens, I will be happy. The model itself is flawed. But instead of recognizing that it is the model itself that's flawed, what we do is we spend enormous amount of time changing the if. Oh, well, I thought that if I became CEO, it would help. But now I realize it's not that I want to become a CEO. I want to become the billionaire CEO, and then I will be happy. You got your own variation of that. Pick on that. But it's the model itself that's flawed, not what you put on the if side of the equation. And I can demonstrate that to you. Can any of you recall a time when you were confronted with a scene of such spectacular beauty that it took you outside of yourself into a place of great serenity? Maybe a rainbow, a mountain range, a valley, the sea. And if you remember that, raise your hands if you could. Virtually all of you could, right? Have you ever wondered why that happened? The reason that happened is that somehow, for some reason, at that instant, you accepted the universe exactly as it was. You didn't say, that's a beautiful rainbow, but it's kind of off to the left, and if I could move it 200 yards to the right, it would be ever so much beautiful. You didn't say, that's a beautiful valley, but the tree in the foreground has too many crooked branches, so if you gave me a chainsaw in 20 minutes, I'd make it ever so much better. Oh no, the rainbow off center was just fine. The tree with its crooked branches was just fine. And the moment you accepted the universe just as it was, your habitual wanting self dropped away, and the happiness, which is your innate nature, surfaced, and you felt it. And I know you felt it because now, even now, after all those years, you can still remember it. The problem is that your life right now, with all of the problems that you have, more precisely, all of the problems that you think you have, is equally perfect. But you do not accept it. In fact, you're spending all your time striving with might and main to make it different. You are not accepting it. And when you're not accepting it, you're buying into the if-then model. If this happens, then I will be happy. And it's the model itself that is flawed. So let me show you how you can get out of that, or at least you can begin the steps towards getting out of that. I'd like to share with you that action. We all live our lives because we want to achieve something, correct? We are here and we want to have something. Alex wants to have a successful conference. Many of you want to bring programs to your companies that are very successful. You want to progress, have more money, all of that. Is that correct? Excuse me. Each of that is an outcome. You would like something to happen. Now, I'd like you to think about the following. Actions are within your control, not entirely, but to a large extent. The outcome is completely out of your control. Okay? Actions are within your control. The outcome is completely outside your control. Have any of you recognized that when you have a goal and you start to work towards it, some of the time you don't achieve your goal, and some of the time what you get is the exact opposite of what you wanted? Has that happened to any of you? Like there was a friend of mine who's said, gee, I have not been paying a lot of attention to my wife, and this has to change. So the next time we went on a business trip, he bought a very expensive dress for her. And this was his way of showing, I care for you, and he hoped nice things would happen. And when he presented the gift to his wife, her immediate reaction was, after 20 years of marriage, you don't know my size? And furthermore, don't you know I never wear this kind of thing? And the next thing you know, he had a full-blown marital spat. Has that happened to any of you? You've taken action for a particular outcome, and the outcome you got was the exact opposite of what you wanted? Happens all the time. But we live in a world where what we think of, what we invest in, is the outcome. We define our life in the following way. Here I am, here's where I want to go, these are the steps I have to take in order to get from where I am to where I want to go, and if I succeed, life is wonderful, and if I don't, then I have failed. Life is no good, life sucks. True? False? That is how we live. We invest in the outcome, and as I've just pointed out, The outcome is frequently different from what we would like, and sometimes the diametric opposite of what we would like. You invest in the outcome, and you are guaranteed to have more than your share of frustration, angst, and all the rest of the stuff that makes life suck. There is an alternative. And the alternative is that you do not invest in the outcome, you invest in the process. And the best way to describe that is a quote by John Wooden. I don't know how many of you are familiar with John Wooden. He's very well known in the United States and certainly among basketball fans. He's the only person ever to make the Basketball Hall of Fame, both as a player and as a coach. And what he told his entering team, he led UCLA to an unprecedented number of victories and finals in the NCAA. And what he used to tell any new team is he never spoke about winning. He always said, when it's over and you look in the mirror, did you do the best that you were capable of? And if you did the best that you were capable of, the score doesn't matter. But I suspect that if you did the best that you were capable of, you will find the score to your liking. That is investing in our process. What we do is the exact opposite. We invest in the outcome. This is what I want. Oh, I want it so desperately because if I get it, I will be happy. And you try with might and main to do whatever you can, but you are always focusing on this is the outcome. Now, focusing on the outcome is fine. It gives you direction. Investing in the outcome means that you make the achievement of a particular outcome dependent for your well-being, and that is a surefire recipe for failure. What you can do is something else. You can invest in the process. That is, once you have determined, here is where I am, here is where I want to be, and that's fine. You focus on the outcome only to the extent that it gives you direction, and then you invest yourself completely in the process. You say, here are the steps you want to take, and you put everything into it. And if you succeed, wonderful. And if you don't succeed, still wonderful. Because now you have a new starting point. And from that new starting point, you select another outcome and keep going. And when you do that, you will find that every day is a blast. Let me give you an example. And if you have children, raise your hands if you have children. Have you ever seen a small child learn to walk? What happens, and this happens typically between 11 and 13 months, is the child gets up and she sees everybody walking. She wants to walk. She gets up. She falls down. She starts crying, and mama runs up and comforts her, kisses the place, makes it well. She tries again, falls down. Mommy runs up again. After some time, mommy feels tired and no longer runs up, and the child stops crying. And then she gets up and takes a step and doesn't fall down. And then she takes another. A beautiful smile comes on her face. And very soon, generally within 24 hours, she's walking all over the place, upsetting your living room arrangements. And you've gone to a new stage of parenting, right? Now, imagine what would happen if each time the child fell, she would say, oh my God, I failed again. I'm never going to learn to walk. And you have to get counseling for her to help her deal with feelings of inadequacy and not being able to, achieve and, failed yet again. How long do you think it would take her to walk if you had to do that? Every 3 times she fell down, you have to get a counselor to, counsel her and so on. Sounds funny, isn't it? But that is exactly what we're doing. What the child is doing is she is focusing on the process. She's investing in the process, not in the outcome. What we do is the exact opposite. As we grow up, we lose the ability to invest in the process. We start investing in the outcome. By definition, the outcome is outside of our control. And if that's where we spend all our emotional energy, we are going to get drained as we do. But if, on the other hand, we said, here is the outcome, I am going to invest in the process and give it every single bit I could, every day is a blast. And you're well on your way to achieving the vision that I outlined to you. The question that I get all the time is persons say, Professor Rao, but nothing makes me passionate. So I said, okay, what would? And they invariably come up with, here is a list of things. Here's my job, and here's how much it pays, and this is the kind of person my boss is, and these are the kind of people my colleagues are, and here's how my customers are, and here's how much I travel, and here's how big my office is, and here's how deep the carpeting is, and here's how many windows I have. Bunch of parameters. And what I tell them is what I want to share with you, because all of that stuff, first of all, it doesn't exist. But second, even if it did and you were plugged into it, it would not take more than 6 months for you to be the same sorry, miserable self there as you are now. Because passion exists inside you. It does not exist in the job. And if you don't find a way to ignite it within you, right where you are not going to find it outside. But if you do find a way to ignite it where you are, then you will find that the external world rearranges itself to accommodate the new person that you are becoming. And as you do that, you will find that miracles happen on a regular basis. Persons come up whom you're delighted to meet, new people enter your life. It's just a breeze. Because all you do in your life is you take journeys. You came here to this conference, you went on a journey. You hang around the water cooler talking about how terrible your place of work is, you went on a journey. You watch Desperate Housewives, you go on a journey. You go on a journey where 40-something women are having affairs with 19-something gardeners while the husbands are playing around with models. All you do is go on journeys. There's nothing wrong with that, but just ask yourself, is this a journey I want to take? Does this take me to a place I want to spend time? And if you start doing that, you will find that your life changes. The kind of people you meet, the things you talk about, the movies you go to, the books you read, everything changes. And you begin all of that by focusing on the process. Invest in the process, not in the outcome. Thank you.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. So focus, or rather invest in the process and not on the outcome. And we frequently invest in the outcome, and that's why we end up being unhappy. This is just an 18-minute video, and I'm really amazed at how Professor Rao can put it so succinctly in such a short talk. But it was an eye-opener for me, and I hope it is an eye-opener for many of you. Do not chase the wrong things. Keep an outcome only for direction, and use it to help you get in the direction of what you want to do, but do not become obsessed with the outcome. That's what he's saying. And I think this is a very important lesson, because if you are happy, then like the previous speaker spoke about being positive, right? She said you have to be positive. Now, before I close, let me let you in on a secret. How many of you read The Secret, by the way, the book The Secret? Wow, I'm very impressed, very impressed. So did you see a parallel between what The Secret says and what Professor Rao was saying towards the end? Okay, great. Okay, let me let you in on a secret. I've been in Pune. This is my 30th year in Pune, 30, and in 30 years I haven't seen a doctor. No medical expenses, zero. I may not look like the fittest person on the planet, but I'm the happiest fellow on the planet. Let me tell you that, okay? And the reason for that is I think I'm very positive here, and I sincerely believe that a day has 24 hours, and at the end of the day, you should be able to account for 24 hours. So while leaving, let me give you a small exercise which you can do for yourself. Take a piece of paper, not now, later. Take a piece of paper, and whatever time you're doing the exercise, think of the preceding 24 hours, okay, the one full day. Let's say you're doing it at 7 p.m. today, 7 p.m. yesterday to 7 p.m. today. This 24 hours you should think of, and make a list of all the things that you did in those 24 hours. What all did you do in those 24 hours? Okay? Anything that you did for more than 15 minutes, which means you spent significant time, should appear on the list. Now, after writing the list, against each of those items, you write how much time you spent on that item. I'm talking of all the things, including I slept for 6 hours or 8 hours or whatever time you sleep. Okay? Make that list, write the times against it, do a total. And you'll be amazed with how many hours you can account for of the most recent 24 hours. And if anyone gets more than 14 hours, if you can account for more than 14 hours, please let me know, because I think that's a very interesting person. It's very difficult. There's so much of time. We do interviews and we ask people, I ask people during interviews, what are you doing socially? And people say, I don't have time, so I just donate money to CRY or to some agencies like that. So then the moment they say, I don't have time, I have them do this exercise and I make them realize that they have a lot of time. It's just that they don't know that they have time. So please do this exercise for yourself. I think it will be an eye-opener. Please be very positive in your life. I think India is a great place, and I think the entire planet is a great place to be in. We are all very, very fortunate to be here. And don't forget this, the moment you join any company, whichever company you guys join, the moment you join the company, you are in the top 2% of the salary earners of the country. So don't be crestfallen, don't go around crying that life is really difficult and all, because you are in the top 2%. Okay, there's 98% of our countrymen who are not doing as well as we are doing. So spare a thought for them, think what you can do for them to make them happy, because in making others happy, the amount of happiness you get is unbelievable. Try it, please. Thank you very much.